Hey guys, I wanted to start out this video by saying thank you so much for your feedback and support on these last few videos. I love to see how everyone's feeling about the state of the game, and I recently posted over on the Borderlands 3 subreddit just saying I finally completed my collection with owning every Borderlands game. Some of you were quick to point out I was missing Tiny Tina's one-shot, as well as the VR version of Borderlands 2, and I was actually quick to pick up the one-shot. I wasn't aware of it until many of you pointed it out, but I also saw a lot of you guys ask me to rate them, and well, now that I own them all, we're gonna rate them. Minus the Borderlands 2 VR. Honestly, it is not worth anyone picking up. It's as bad as a port for VR as the Skyrim VR. So we can immediately throw that in do not buy tier. I'm going to rank them by 3 points, 1 being DLC, 2 being story, and 3 being replayability. And please remember guys, these are my opinion. If you guys would rank some of these differently, please comment down below with why you'd either rank them higher or lower. And with that being finished, and with that, we're already going to start with Borderlands 1. DLC wise, we've already made it to S tier, but unfortunately this isn't just about DLC, this is about my little 3 points. But honestly, with DLC like Robot Revolution, General Knox's Army, we could forget about Moxie's Underdome, to be honest, take it or leave it, I don't really care for it personally. And the Zombie Island of Dr. Ned. Fantastic DLCs across the board. I honestly wish we could have something like that in a newer Borderlands game. Onto the story part of it though, honestly it was just kind of there. I never really found it to be too interesting. It definitely had potential like it showed in later games, but Borderlands 1 story for the most part just kind of did world building, and it did a good job at that, but kind of felt bland at times and very boring. And lastly, replayability. I mean, the replayability is definitely there. It allows for 2 playthroughs per character, and obviously, you know, you get to experience the same enemies, but harder for the first time in the franchise. So, overall, definitely pretty solid. I would definitely have to put it in more of a B tier though, only because personally I feel like the game feels very slow paced. And to me, a lot of the guns didn't really stand out. A lot of them look the same. They do feel different to use, and I guess they have a lot of different effects when you use them. But overall, the gunplay felt very boring to me. And every gun and shield looks exactly the same, or very close to it. So we are going to go ahead and put Borderlands 1 in the B tier. I feel pretty comfortable about that. I think it's fair. I think we give the game its credit for establishing the franchise, doing a lot of things good, especially DLC wise, but also acknowledging its faults. On to the pre-sequel. Now this one truly does pain me because I believe it could have been a great game. I really do. The game was rushed in every aspect. 2K Australia also went under in the development of this game. I say in the development because as they were fixing the game and putting out new DLCs, is when they announced the branch would no longer exist. Now this is not going to be me defending the game at all. I just wanted to give that bit of context in case you think it was rated a little bit too high. And as for DLC though, absolutely garbage. Terrible, 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 except one. And that's right, I'm talking about the Claptastic Voyage. I honestly think they set a standard with this DLC. I enjoyed it way more, even more than the Tiny Tina's DLC in Borderlands 2. I just wish we could have seen what other kind of nice campaigns could have come from this game. I unfortunately was one of the poor souls who did buy the season pass when it came out. As for the story though, I think that it was nice to play through as a dedicated Borderlands fan, but I feel like for anybody else, especially if this is your first entry into the franchise, pretty mid. And as for replayability, just not really there. With all that being said, the pre-sequel has landed itself in the C tier for me. Next we have Borderlands 2, and man did this game do it right. Definitely not at launch, but as time progressed, the game became like fine wine. I mean, they're still trying to recreate the same success they've seen with 2. As for DLC, they're all amazing. Not a single one I could even say that you don't need to play that. They all should be played if you enjoy the game. I would even go as far as say all of the Headhunters as well, minus the Waddle Gobbler. And they knocked it out of the park with the story for the game. Many players, even non-fans, can acknowledge how good of an enemy Handsome Jack really was. And even at times throughout the campaign, having the player doubt if they are actually the good guy or if they're just a bandit, like he says. Even when we look at the game's replayability, we really saw what it did for the franchise. Players loved it so much that they wanted to keep going through the game. They added a new mode called Ultimate Vault Hunter, and then with DLCs went all the way up to OP8, extending the level cap up to 72. Current day it's 80, but it just goes to show how much people really loved playing this game and didn't want to put it down. So without a doubt, we have our first S tier. Moving on to the first spin-off game, Tales from the Borderlands. I say spin-off because technically still canon, but spin-off in the sense that it's not the traditional Borderlands game that the fans are used to. This one was actually made with Telltale. So unfortunately, I can't really use the other forms of grading to rate this. We can actually only go off of its story. And thank goodness for that, because they introduced amazing new characters into the Borderlands world and gave even more world building to corporations. Two of the most important characters that were added to the game, Reese and Fiona, are also some of the most important characters we've seen so far. Reese being a Hyperion snoot who aims to be exactly like Handsome Jack, and Fiona being more of a thief. The game honestly delivers its story beautifully. Towards the end, you wonder if you really do want Reese to end up like Handsome Jack or make it his own way. And you can also even get this thief who's only known to steal to survive. That money really isn't everything. I don't want to spoil too much of the story because I really do believe everyone should play this game, even if you're not a Borderlands fan. It honestly is a great game. So with that being said, another S tier back to back. Now on to its sequel. And oh boy is it bad. This game is so bad I'm actually creating a new tier called Do Not Play. And this game is New Tales from the Borderlands. Honestly, it should just be called the Fran Show, because Fran does it all. Despite being handicapped, if anything, she's handy capable, because she can take it all on. A vault monster, her chair breaking, and fighting soldiers, doesn't matter. Honestly, no soldiers seem to even be able to kill her. She's just too smart and sexy for that, because this character's got it all. Despite this game being secretly a Fran fanfic, they also dropped the ball with having the previous game's character, Reese, involved. They managed to make him exactly like Handsome Jack, despite all the character development he'd had, firing this game's main character for having an idea that wouldn't sell more, despite it bettering humanity, to which he actually knows it is capable of, given at the end of the game he talks about how he secretly knew about these crystals the entire time, which makes no sense. Anyway, I'd rather rant on this game in its own video, so I'll leave that for another time, but for now it's going to sit here in the Do Not Play tier. Next, I'm actually going to combine these two together, Tina's One Shot and Wonderlands together, and I'm going to put them in the Haven't Played tier, because right now I'm in the process of 100%ing them and giving them their own game reviews on my channel. On to our very last one, Borderlands 3. Now this one, I'm having a real tough time picking for it, because for DLCs, I honestly think it did a pretty good job at delivering. They were all pretty good, same thing for their story. Guns, Love, and Tentacles also added an amazing world, and interesting lore too. I don't think that's really talked about that much. Even giving us one of the biggest vault monsters we've ever even seen. The game's actual story is where we take a different look at it though. It was honestly some of the worst writing I've ever seen in Borderlands. The main enemies honestly felt like they were laughing at the community. The "This Girl is on Fire" scene for Lilith actually made me cringe at being a Borderlands fan. And cutting all of Ava's character development was definitely not a good look, considering she was left to be the next leader of the Crimson Lance. I definitely feel like they tried to save face here with the director's cut, just after everything, adding in all that extra stuff to make her character seem more enjoyable. Because honestly, if it wasn't added after the fact, why would you cut such a huge, important arc for your character? But as for replayability though, I honestly find myself going back to this game at least 3 times a week. It's extremely fun. I love all the new systems they've added. The fact that seasonal events can be triggered whenever you want, or the Diamond Loot Room, or even the Vault Pass card, or even the Echo broadcast for streamers. They added so many quality of life things to this game, and it really feels fun to play. I want to give the game an S, I truly do, but because of its story and how they've shown to butt heads with the community and kind of just push us aside, I'm gonna have to put it in an A tier. A tier is still a great tier, for the record. I don't think it's a bad game. I think you should play it. I think the gameplay is very fun. And that's gonna do it for this video, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Please comment down below if you agree or what you would change, especially with why you would change it. And I just want to take a second to say the Lootathon will start back up same times as usual once this video is uploaded. Me and Bricks took a little bit of a break from playing, but now we're starting back up. If you've enjoyed, subscribe for more Borderlands content as well as new content on the way. I still will be making Borderlands content, but I also do want to spice things up here and there. Thanks guys, peace.